All right, now welcome back to the show. Man, my name is Lyonel. I am so excited to have you guys here. Today, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about something that's really near and dear to me, something that's been really impactful in my life, and I want to kind of share that with you guys. A lot of times, in most of the shows, really, what we talk about is things that are benefiting you, things that are important in your growth, things that can actually help you become, a better version of yourselves. And we're going to keep doing that. That's never going to stop. That's always going to be part of this. And I think today, what I'm going to talk about is kind of like right in line with this. But this is something that's super near and dear to me. And I don't think most people understand the impact that they have when they come here. And I'm going to explain this. I know that everyone looks at when you come here, I make a difference in your lives by teaching you different things and showing you what you're capable of and helping you bringing out what you have internally that you may not even be aware of. But what I don't think most people realize is that the impact that they have on me as well and how they benefit me and how they help me up level and get better and improve. And yeah, I've had some incredible relationships. I've had some incredible people that have come through and have been in my life because of this business. And I'm so thankful for that. And I want to talk about one that's had probably the biggest impact on me so far out of everyone. And it's because she's really been an absolutely incredibly special person, and the impact has been magnificent for me, but not just me, but everyone else that she's ever come in contact with and she's touched. And I want to talk about that. I hope that everyone is okay when they hear this, and because this has been really a big deal for me. And the person I will talk about today is Margaret Vento. Margaret passed away a couple of months ago. Unfortunately, she was literally the oldest person I got a chance and opportunity to work with. She was 94, almost 95. Didn't quite make it to her 95th birthday before she passed. And that hit me harder than anything else because I was so rooting for her, man, to be able to make it to 100. And I know she was too, because we talked about this from the day she started. Margaret came to see me when she was 89 years old. That's when she actually started. That was the first time walking into any kind of gym, any kind of fitness center, or doing anything exercise related. And the reason she came is because she just went through a bout of chemotherapy and radiation to go with her second battle with breast cancer after mastectomy, double mastectomy, going through all the different things. She was weak. She'd lost a lot of weight. She was really struggling to just function and do basic things. Standing up was a challenge. She would lose her balance after about 5 seconds. She was walking, but more like tripping on herself as she was walking. So there was a lot of things that were really affecting her. And she wanted to see that change. And she came, her number one reason for being here was because she wanted to remain independent. She didn't want to have to depend on her family and her kids to take care of her, which I thought was such a powerful thing. So starting with her was kind of a interesting thing because there were so many challenges and things that she dealt with, but yet just went through them like a champ, man. Like never even hesitated, never looked at anything bad, never, faced a challenge like no one that I've ever seen before. So she inspired me every single day. People used to talk about how we dealt with each other or how I dealt with her and the things that I did with her. And what they didn't understand is that I looked forward to seeing her every time she came because every time she came, she gave me something beyond anything that I could expect. And it was awesome. And it was such a powerful thing because as much as she enjoyed being here with me, I enjoyed being here with her just as much, if not more. So it was really, really cool. And there's a lot of things that I learned from being here. And I want to share some of that with you because the impact, like I said, that she's made has been powerful. What's so interesting is that a lot of these things I already knew, but seeing someone actually live that for their entire lives, right? Because she's older than I am. She's almost 40. Actually, there was a 40-year age difference between the two of us. And so to see her display and do these things was like such a powerful thing for me because it helped me really truly understand that life can be exactly what you make of it. No matter what happens to you, no matter what things are thrown at you, you choose how your life is going to be. And she displayed that. One of the first things that I saw from her that was really powerful and impactful when she started here was simply this: show up. That's such a simple little thing, but I don't think people understand the impact that that can have. Show up. Now, it's not just when it comes to fitness, it's not just when it comes to trying to get in shape or whatever, but that's in everything. One of the things that was so important, like every time she came here, she showed up, not just physically coming in, being present, but she was here. She gave everything she had everywhere she went. Anyone that she was ever in contact with never got a little bit of Margaret, they got all of her or she wasn't around, which was so impactful to me because I saw this every time she came here. There were times when she showed up where really she wasn't doing well. You know, Margaret also had AFib, and she was in AFib for severely, probably about 90 something percent of the time. So if you don't know what AFib is, it's a condition basically that affects your blood where you don't get as much oxygen through your blood pumping as you normally should. So because of that, your heart has to work probably 2 to 3 times harder than the average person just to keep oxygen flowing so you can actually breathe and function and whatever. So if your normal heart rate resting is in the 50s or 60s, a person with AFib usually is going to be in the 100s or 120s or 130s, just normal before anything else gets started. You think about this, where you're at when you're working out and you quote unquote breathing hard and you can't survive. This is where they are daily struggling just to be able to breathe. And then she comes into exercise. So that was a normal thing for her. And I used to be so impressed watching how she dealt with that because it was really just her showing up. And when I would see sometimes when she comes in that she was really bad, I would just simply ask her how she's doing. And her response always put a smile on my face. Because what she would tell me is simply this: I'm just a little winded today. Never complained. That was such a powerful thing to me, right? Just to hear, I'm just a little winded. And so I'd say, okay, well, we're going to take it a little slower and we're going to work at your pace, which we always did anyway. But she knew what that meant. She knew that that meant that she can take as long as she needed. She can just get to where she feels comfortable. And then we can go ahead and keep pushing and figuring out where we can go and what we can do and how we can make things happen. But that was so powerful to me to know that showing up was never out of the question for her. She showed up to everything and gave it everything she had, you know. The other thing that was also there, right, is that she never complained about anything. No matter what it was that was happening to her, no matter how bad things were, she literally did not complain. Now, there were times when she came in where, again, she struggled. Things were hard, whether it was with the breathing or something was hard for her, or something was difficult. She would make a comment. She would kind of let you know that this is something challenging, but she never complained. She just figured out how to try to do things. And that was really awesome. The thing that worked well for the two of us was this. She made me understand that when it comes to anything and everything that you do, as long as you're willing to try, as long as you're willing to put an effort towards it, you can accomplish magical things. But if you're unwilling to even give it a try or even put in an effort towards it, then nothing is going to change. And so that was so cool because when she would come, we would go through certain things and I would have her try something that she'd never done before. Or she would look at someone doing something and be like, man, I don't know if I'd ever be able to do this. And my response to her is like, well, how do you know if you can't? She's like, I don't. I said, okay, want to find out? And her response was always the same every single time. Okay, with a big smile on her face and everything, right? Which was so awesome because that helped me understand another point, which is I always believed that, but just being eager and having that zest for finding out things, right? And trying new things, not being complacent, not staying in the same place that you are. That was so cool to see her display that all the time. Right. So anytime there was something to do, Margaret, do you want to try that? She's like, I don't know. I said, you think you can? She's like, do you think I can? I'm like, well, let's find out. Her response always with a big smile. Okay. I love that. And so that's an attitude that I know that I kind of had that, I think, but watching her display that all the time really has helped me just become that person so much more. And I tell you, man, it's kind of pretty cool to know that there's nothing that's impossible. There's nothing that you're not willing to try because, well, what the hell? It's either going to work or it's not. And you can always come back and try more and do more. So I've adopted that for sure. Another thing that I see with her, that I saw with her, is that Margaret always chose life. What I mean is that regardless of what was happening with her, regardless of how bad things were, she always chose to just be present and be happy and just smile and live and give as much as she could and do as much as she could. Didn't complain about anything, didn't look at it as life is bad or whatever, didn't ever look at her circumstances and just relied on that. Never, ever, ever relied on what was happening to her as a reason for her not to. She always tried to figure out a way to do things and give things and much. So that was really cool for me to see. Another thing about her is that she was always smiling, always. There was never a time, no matter how bad things got for her, where she didn't have a smile on her face. That was such a huge thing for me to see because I adopted that concept. Back when I was 16 years old, I made a decision that no one is going to be able to control what happens to me, right? I mean, I'm not in control of what happens to me. Circumstances are going to be what they are. But the one thing I can control is how I respond to things, right? So I decided that happiness is my choice every day. I can wake up and let my circumstances dictate how I feel, or I can choose how I'm going to show up in the world. And I chose happiness every day, right? I'm going to be happy. I'm going to smile. I'm going to enjoy my life because that's the only one I have. And I've worked really hard to live that in the last whatever umpteenth years, right, doing that. It is so cool to see her display that 40 years ahead of me every single day. She was always smiling no matter what was going on. And that was so inspiring to me. That just kept me going. That made me want to hang around her more and more and more and more. She would ask me all the time, why do you want to spend time with me? I'm an old lady. I don't know anything. I don't do anything. Why would you want to be here? And my response was always the same. Are you kidding me? You are a wealth of information. You are a wealth of experiences. You have done and seen things that most people have never gotten a chance to do. Why in the world wouldn't I want to hang around you? There's so much that I learned just by sitting here and watching you just breathe. And she always thought that was funny. And she always laughed every time I said that, which always made me laugh more. You know, she's like, oh, you're silly. I said, look, I can sit here with you for hours and say absolutely nothing and it'll be just fine. And I learned a lot just by watching how you react. And she thought that was strange, but that was also the truth. I learned so much from her just being in her space, just watching how she is around everyone. And another thing that she did that she displayed better than anyone I've ever come across is her kindness. She was so good to others. She cared so much about other people. It was amazing when she would walk in here before we started anything. Anyone that she'd ever come across in the gym that she saw work out, whether she met them once or knew their name or anything, she would ask me about. She would inquire about how they're doing, their well-being, how's their family, how are they still training, how their lives are coming on. It was so amazing that she remembered every single person she came across. In here, she would ask about. Some people she got to know very well, right? Because she got to meet them, have conversations with them. So those people were definitely at the top of her list. She would always, always ask about them. She got a chance to meet one of the members that actually got the interview, went through something similar to her. And I remember when she met her, the first thing that she would do every time she came, she would always ask me about her. How is she doing? How is she now? How is she coming with everything? How's her recovery? All these things. It was so awesome to see that she cared so much. So such a simple thing, right? But yet so few of us do this on a regular basis. We usually kind of focus on our own little internal thing and not so much care about everybody else. It was so nice to see that this woman, with not only having her family and everything else that she goes through and all her life that she has to deal with and all the issues that are facing her, but whenever she showed up here, one of the first things that mattered to her was how everyone else that she'd met, how they were doing, whether they were progressing or whether they were having the things that they needed to happen in her life. That was such a cool thing to see that. And I remember, man, if I can just be just a quarter of what she is, that'd be pretty awesome. But if I can strive to be more, man, that'd be even better. So that's really helped me just be more focused on giving more and being more present and being more in touch with what's happening around me and the people around me, you know, in my life. So Margaret had such an incredible impact in so many ways. I am beyond thankful. I know it may seem like on this one I'm rambling. I mean, I may feel like I am, but I really think that this is such a powerful thing that can help so many of us, right? Look at our lives in a different way. There are people around us that are absolutely fantastic that we probably overlook because of one thing or another. Pay attention to who they are. Pay attention to the little things that they do because that's what makes them special. What was so interesting to me was what happened at the end of her life after she passed and we had the celebration of life for her. When I showed up there, that's when I really got to see, I just thought her impact was great on me, which was fantastic. But I got to see what the impact of Margaret was on anyone and everyone that was around her, from her direct family to friends and friends of friends and acquaintances and members of the church and members of whatever other organizations that she was part of. It was such an incredible thing to see how she touched every single person in a powerful, powerful way because she showed up as the same all the time. So what I gathered from that was just simply be consistent. Be who you say you are. Be who you want to be, right? And just stay consistent in that. You know, circumstances will happen. Things will go bad in your life. Things will come up and hit you hard. There'll be different difficulties that you will face. But you can still choose to show up as that same person every single day, regardless of what's happening, regardless of who did what to you or what things didn't go correctly in your life. And she displayed that better than anyone else I've ever seen. And she inspires me to make sure that I absolutely stay as consistent as possible for the rest of my life. So thank you for who you were. Thank you for the impact that you made on me. And thank you for the impact that you've made on all the people that you've come across. Margaret Vento, you are one of a kind. And I don't think there's ever going to be another one like you. And yeah, you've made an incredible, incredible, incredible impact in my life. Thank you. All right, guys. Okay, so that's, yeah. This has been a really interesting one. Wow. I'm kind of at loss for word now. This was really near and dear to me. I wanted to make sure that I honored who she is or who she was and who she's been to not just me, but all the people that she's touched. And if you didn't get to know her, get a chance to talk to her family, her friends. Her daughter comes here. Her son-in-law comes here. They've had probably the most experience with her, obviously, because their own kids, their own family. Get to talk to them. Find out a little bit more about who she was. I think you'll be impacted, even though she's no longer here present with us. The more you get to know about her, the more you're going to realize, man, she could really help me in my life too. So it would be awesome to see somebody reach out to their family and learn more about Margaret. All right. All right, guys. That's it I got for today. Thank you so much for listening to my ramble. Thank you for listening to me talking about her and honoring her because she was really awesome. And those lessons, like I said, have been impactful for me. And hopefully they can be great for you too going forward. All right. Again, if you have any questions about anything that we do and how we do, you can reach out. Find us on social media at Get LyonStrong. You can go to our website, getlyonstrong.com. Reach out, send me a message, schedule a call. Just talk. Let's have a conversation and figure out what we can do and how we can do things to be able to help you impact your life. Thank you again for listening. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.